Yeah, I use the shit out of my computers. I think computers, they communicate with each other when they see me. Like, oh, I heard about him. They send each other emails. Hey, you ever find yourself being a little nicer to your electronics because of AI and shit? I don't yell at my shit no more. I'll be like, hey, dang, why you ain't? I be touching on it like, you okay? I don't talk crazy to my electronics no more. AI is here and they listening. I even be talking nice to my toaster. I don't play no more. Oh, you don't like when I put that drippy shit inside? Okay, yeah. I just stick some regular bread. Oh, you don't like the white bread in you? Okay. Yeah, let me get on there. About that one time I became homeless. And at the time I'm still, but I was a touring stand-up comedian, national touring stand-up comic. And all of a sudden I was in a homeless shelter, a real homeless shelter. I was married, wife, kids, then ended up in a homeless shelter, sleeping on the floor on a mat. And I'm a nationally touring, feature headlining comic. That means touring the whole country, doing shows. I performed in 43 states. I've been doing this for over 20. I've been in the show business for almost 30 years and done a lot of things. And still, I ended up homeless. I was selfish for getting married and having kids. Not necessarily for getting married, but for having kids. And so, my ex-wife came with a baby at like 9 months. And so therefore I was an instant father. So I didn't have any problem when I raised her. To be in show business, you gotta be a little selfish. People try to juggle it and it's cool and unless you have the support of your family and wife, it's unfair to them. Unless they in 100% and doing it with you and helping you gig and do your setup, you do this, that, and the third, there's always an exception. But if you have control of that and you choose to have children, to me, it's a little selfish. And I can say that at my age, I got grandkids. So I'm saying that from experience. I was selfish. Kind of not, I wasn't thinking of it being selfish at the time. I was thinking of it being a man. I'm gonna take care of my kids, man, and I'm gonna chase my dreams. Unless I was independently wealthy, that shit wasn't gonna work. I'm from the hood. I just got out the military. I ain't got a pot to piss in, and all of a sudden now I'm committed to this woman, and I didn't get married right away. I married a couple of years in the relationship, but I was a father right away. I didn't start chasing my dream until like 94, maybe 95, when I got my first movie deal. Yeah, I wrote my first screenplay when my second child was born. So that began the whole journey in show business. When things started to happen for me, I began to notice certain feelings arise with my significant other. And what's up, Derek? With my significant other, and that was jealousy, and they had no reason to be that way, but that jealousy energy gave off to me was non-support, and so that non-support became a wedge between us, and I used that as an excuse to do whatever. But being in that relationship and then having more kids, was selfish because it take two to tango. I was, but I was young and selfish. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing that, and then I was fighting that because I shouldn't be selfish because this is what I really want to do, and that's what you're supposed to do is chase your dream. I'm thinking I'm teaching my kids the same thing. But as a grown person, that's selfish because you have to give so much to show business that you're gonna miss out on some things in regards to your kids and I try my best to mitigate that. I try my best. I try to take them to any show that I could take them to, even on the road. If it was summertime, I would take some of them on the road with me. I would take them on tour with me. I remember one tour I circled the country starting from Arizona, going east, and big circle around the country. Ended up in my last stop was like Redding, California. Yeah, I did a big circle across the country, or around the country, I should say. From Arizona, went into Florida, up through Alabama with a couple of kids. But but it's all about the times you missed. Yeah, granted, if I was working 9 to 5, I would have missed some things anyway because of the nature of the beast. 9 to, or third, midnight shift, third shift. You don't get to have it all, even if you aren't a selfish parent. In regards to my marriage, long story short, it ended 18 years. It's a good run, blah, blah, blah. But when it ended and we split, my decisions caused me to be in a homeless shelter. My decision. I can't blame that on her at all. It was my decisions. And I didn't really have to be in the homeless shelter. I could have, called a relative. I could have called my uncle when I, went back out west. But I felt like at that point in my life, 18 years later, like, and being on the road and doing all the things that I've done, being on TV, doing, like, how the hell I end up in a homeless shelter? And I did all, and I'm on tour. I was in the middle of a tour. So like I finished one, and then my next one didn't start for like 3.5 weeks. So I was physically in the homeless shelter for like 3.5 weeks, 3.5 to 4 weeks. And then my next one started. And I remember where it started. It started at Stardome, Birmingham, Alabama, the Stardome. I was featuring for Memphis Red.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? I know what y'all thinking. I am not the dude from the Green Mile. So if you got syphilis, you're fucked. It's okay to laugh, but I ain't gonna fuck with you. Come on now. It's all right. They trying to make eye contact and shit. This nigga gonna say something. Don't worry, I ain't high. I ate something last night I had a reaction to. She all right, though. I didn't used to eat coochie because I thought it gave you pink eye. And I found out Visine get the red out, so Never, ever smoke weed and drink Red Bull at the same time while driving. You be paranoid and alert at the same time. I pulled myself over. I was like, somebody could get hurt. Since I've been here, I was smoking some weed and drinking some, syrup. Don't do that shit at the same time, boy. Hey, thinking of some shit. I was like, Why are there no Mexicans on the football team? In the NFL, you know. I know they can run. Shit. If they can cross the border, they can score a touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
And I got to rejuvenate because the hotel they put you in is nice. It's in the hot tub, and you know, nobody knows that yesterday I was sleeping in a homeless shelter. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm about to go make a full house of people laugh and have a good time and, you know, be treated like I'm somebody and all that other shit. But yesterday I was sleeping on the floor at a homeless shelter. Life is just, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I could have not been homeless, but I felt like, because of my thought process, I felt like I needed to be in that homeless shelter. It's a lesson to be learned from being here because I'm not supposed to be here. I done did all this shit. I done had a couple movie deals. I mean, I used to work for Master P. I used to blah, 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 blah. I used to do this, blah, blah, blah. I used to do that. And I'm homeless. That hit me hard to come to that reality that I'm fucking homeless. Literally. I got a roller bag, a duffel bag, and a backpack. Back up, I stayed with a friend for a week or so, him and his wife. And then I could tell I was overstaying my welcome after day 2. I could tell they was, trying to argue without letting me know I'm part of the argument, but just let me know I'm grown, okay? Just take me to the homeless shelter. I had them drop me off at the homeless shelter. That's how I ended up there at the spur of the moment. Had I thought about it a little more, But even then, when I made the choice, let me go to the homeless shelter, I had already been thinking about it because I knew that I wasn't going to be, they said a week, but I met 2 or 3 days to me. So he dropped me off. He dropped me off at the homeless shelter. He was more than willing to. Fucking drop me off quick. So, hey man, good luck. Pulled up. I ain't seen him since. Man, this was like in 2010, 29, what is it? 2009, was it? Was it 09? Between 09 and 2010. He dropped me off with my belongings. I remember when he pulled off. I remember looking back at the vehicle when he was pulling out the driveway. And, it wasn't no movie. He pulled out of the parking lot of the homeless shelter and turned left. And when that light turned, scared. That motherfucker pulled up. And then I turned around and looked at the doors of the homeless shelter and was like, damn, this is my life? Like, I've been on TV. I've performed at the Stardome. I used to work for so-and-so and I've done this. And this is where I end up at. It's a homeless shelter. And at that moment, that's when I felt like I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to end up there. Because, I take my life seriously, man. And I need to go there so I can figure out how the fuck I ended up here. You are capable of all these things and you are in a homeless shelter. How the fuck did that happen? You are capable of all of these things and you end up in a homeless shelter. Chasing your dreams. Chasing my dreams. That was part of it. That was part of it, chasing my dreams. So I spent time in the homeless shelter and I learned a lot about myself. I learned some of the avenues where I made mistakes. I learned about other people and their plight in life it humbled me. It showed me that, nigga, you didn't have it that bad. You kind of fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? There was issues and problems. We probably still shouldn't have been together, but I could have handled it a different way and not ended up here or had a transition planned out, but I was acting on impulse. Certain things came my way, and by this time in our relationship, it's already clear, you know, it's over, and this, that, and the third. Instead of being patient and working through the transition and didn't want that third, I made some rash decisions that backfired. And cost me a roof over my head. And I'm telling you all this as a story, a warning. When you talk about somebody was grinding in this business to get stage time and on the road, I've clocked about 1 million miles driving myself. Let's not count a Greyhound bus tour for the first 3 years of my my stand-up touring career. I've performed in 43 states and counting in my career, 43 states. I've been to about 46 of them because I was a flight attendant. I used to be a flight attendant. But I've performed in 43 states. I've done a lot of things. And it's like, but the thing is, when I did go in the homeless shelter, instead of calling a relative, because I had that thought too, what made me really say I needed to be here and I'm just going to stick it out was the fact that, like I said, I had just gotten off a tour and my next one started in 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. And so while I was homeless, I took that time to call bookers and set up, more dates so that I can get my, stack my money and get back on my feet. And that's what I did while I was in there. But, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I could call a relative, but yeah, I'll be, I don't want to use that card or use that, that I don't want to play that card yet. I'm gonna go here to this, and I don't really want to talk about it with anybody right now. I just split with my wife, and and I've got to see my kids at certain times and try to navigate that. I ain't got a place to stay, so I'm carrying all my luggage with me every day because you had to be out in the morning at the homeless shelter, and so there was no shelter for your belongings, so you had to carry them with you. So I had to create this routine going from there to the thing over here to hang out for a second, eat a meal, and then go to the library and, do some research and, follow up on my agent, my bookers, trying to get these dates and, communicating with my ex-wife on, okay, well, let me see, all this, man. So again, I'm telling you this to know that being homeless made me really analyze my life on why and how I got there. And so what it also helped me spawn was a thing called the Homeless Comedy Tour, because I feel like that there's a cure for homelessness. I feel that way. I feel like there's a way we can end that shit state by state. So I created a tour called the Homeless Comedy Tour. And oh man. Yeah, so I guess we'll get into that. I created this tour called the Homeless Comedy Tour.